All right, let's talk about the perfect getaway to the one and only Missouri. In the next few minutes, we're going to build the ultimate trip plan, covering everything you need to know, from the best time to go to what it's going to cost. So, are you dreaming of escaping to the Queen of Hills? Good, because whether you want a super chill retreat or a weekend packed with adventure, we're going to map it out together. First up, let's get the boring stuff out of the way, the logistics. Okay, first things first. When should you go and how do you even get there? Nailing this down is like the foundation for the whole trip, so let's get it sorted. So you've basically got two choices, and your whole vibe will depend on this. The peak season, March to June, is gorgeous, perfect weather, but you're going to be sharing it with a lot of people and prices will be higher. Or you could go during the shoulder season. It's way quieter, cheaper, and you get this crisp, clean air, maybe even some snow. Just, pack a good jacket. Getting there is actually pretty simple. Most people just drive. It's about a 6 or 7 hour trip from Delhi. If you're more of a train person, just book a ticket to Dehradun, which is super close. From there, it's a really scenic taxi ride up into the mountains. And of course, the fastest way is just to fly right into Dehradun's airport. And speaking of that taxi ride, here's a look at what that final leg of the journey will cost you. As you can see, a smaller car is going to run you about 1,600 rupees. If you've got a bigger crew and need an SUV, you're looking at closer to 3,000. It's just really good to know these numbers beforehand so you can budget properly. Okay, logistics are handled. Now let's get to the really fun part. What are you actually going to do? Here's a 3-day plan you can totally steal or just use for inspiration. On day one, I say ease into it. You gotta start in Landor. It's this quieter, historic part of town with a ton of charm. Grab some amazing food at the Landor Bakehouse, then head up to Lal Tibba for some absolutely killer Himalayan views. Then wrap up the day with the classic Mussoorie experience, a nice long walk down the famous Mall Road. Day two is all about getting out into nature. Now, you're gonna hit Kempty Falls, but you have to go early, and trust me, I'll explain why in a second. After that, find a little peace and quiet at Dalai Hill. But the real highlight of the day? The trek up to George Everest Peak. The views are, well, they're epic. So what's the big deal with this spot? It's not just a pretty view. This was the actual home of Sir George Everest himself. Yeah, the guy they named the mountain after. The trek is totally doable, about 1.5 kilometers, and at the top, you get this mind-blowing 360-degree view. It's the perfect way to escape the hustle and bustle. Okay, so let's circle back to Kempty Falls. We need to have a little real talk here. It's one of the most famous spots in Mussoorie, but you have to manage your expectations. As you can see from this tourist comment, it can get really overcrowded and, well, not always the cleanest. But here's the secret, the absolute game changer. If you can drag yourself out of bed and get to Kempty Falls at like 6 a.m., chances are you'll have the whole place to yourself. It completely transforms the experience from a potential letdown into something truly magical. For your last day, it's kind of like a choose-your-own-adventure deal. If you're feeling chill, head over to Missouri Lake for some relaxing boating. But if you need one last hit of adrenaline, you can go to Ayakaya Island or Bada Falls. They have adventure parks with zip lining and all that fun stuff. Obviously, no trip is complete until you've done some serious shopping and eating, so let's dive into the best markets and the most delicious food in Mussoorie. Mussoorie is amazing for shopping. You can start on the main mall road for all your souvenirs, then wander over to Kulari Bazaar for clothes and art. The Tibetan market is an absolute must. It's a treasure trove of cool handicrafts and woolens. And then finish up at Landor Bazaar for local goodies, like homemade jams. And the food? Oh man, you have to eat well here. From the legendary pancakes at Char Dukhan to a full-on authentic Garhwali thali at Jeet Restaurant, seriously, you've got to try the local lentil dish if you see it. And of course, you can't leave without getting some fresh momos at Domus Inn. There's something for literally everyone. All right, let's get down to brass tacks. The question everyone wants to know. How much is this all going to set you back? So here's a pretty good estimate for a 3-day trip per person. If you're on a super tight budget, think hostels and street food, you can probably pull it off for around 8,000 rupees. A more comfortable mid-range trip will be closer to 15,000. And if you want to go all out with fancy hotels, you're looking at 25,000 or more. And it's really helpful to see where that money actually goes. For a typical mid-range trip, about a third goes to your hotel and another third goes to food.
The rest gets split between getting around, activities, and shopping. Seeing it broken down like this helps you figure out where you want to save and where you feel like splurging.
So that kind of brings us to the big question, right? After seeing all this, the history, the nature, the busy markets, the quiet trails, what is Missouri, really? And the truth is, it's whatever you want it to be. It can be a deep dive into history, a nonstop adventure, or just a quiet place to relax and recharge. The real Missouri is the one you create for yourself. Have an amazing trip.